Hey guys, and welcome to the very first episode of Recap, where we bring to you some of the biggest tech news over the week and break it down to you in a way that's easily digestible to anybody, irrespective of your interests or backgrounds. My name is Elijah and I will be your host this week, and you can find me at Elijah_Ajuwon on my social media handles. Recap is powered by Arkisites, which is an organization that aims to bridge the access gap between the tech sector and minority ethnic communities. If you want to find out more about the work we do, please visit our website at www.arkisites.co.uk. Now that all of the introductions and formalities are done, let's jump straight into things. Elon Musk has openly criticized Amazon and Jeff Bezos on Thursday after a tweet made by author Alex Berenson revealed that Amazon had rejected a submission for his book titled Unreported Truths about COVID-19 and Lockdown. The book explored whether or not the virus was actually as deadly as public health officials say it was. Shortly after the Twitter exchange, a spokeswoman from Amazon stated that the book had been removed in an error and was subsequently being reinstated. The book was then made available on the website only a few hours later. However, Mr. Berenson, as you'd expect, he didn't buy this. He in fact tweeted that Amazon backed down, citing pressure from his followers and Elon Musk as a contributing factor. So, what exactly did Elon Musk actually say when he responded initially to Mr. Berenson's tweet? Well, he said, "That's insane." He then went on to tweet something a bit more profound later on. He said that it's time to break up Amazon and that monopolies are wrong. Now, if I had a pound for every time somebody said that a big tech company should be broken up, I'll probably be a very rich man by now. However, the breaking up of big tech is a sentiment that individuals like Elon Musk, activists and politicians all share. And look, the contribution to society is not a secret. They are some of the world's largest employers and they have subsidiaries that are on the forefront of innovation, making data, information and emerging technologies more accessible to us all. It's becoming increasingly obvious that big tech companies are no longer the impartial platforms that they claim to be. Tech companies have in the past deplatformed individuals and censored information that goes against their sometimes loose guidelines. And I think that's where people draw the line when it comes to the activities that tech giants are involved in. In Amazon's case, breaking them up isn't going to be easy unless there's strong evidence that Amazon is engaging in anti-competitive practices. In their case, the fact that they offer such low prices in their retail side of their business is actually saving them from antitrust probes. So, what do you think? Are you a hardened capitalist and think that these tech firms should be left alone? After all, they've taken years to grow their firms to the size that they are today, so they should be free to do as they wish? Or do you think that they should be broken up? Let us know in the comments below. For those of you who like to browse Chrome in incognito mode and do whatever you do and thought you were safe, let me tell you something, you're wrong. In fact, Google may have been tracking your activity and millions of other users whilst in incognito mode, illegally invading our privacy. I'm saying our because I use Chrome as well, but I don't do it in incognito mode, so I don't really have anything to hide or to worry about. Some of you may be panicking and are wondering, what is actually being done about this? Well, Google have been hit with a lawsuit that seeks $5 billion, where they accuse Alphabet, Google's parent company, of collecting information about what people view online, where they browse, despite being in incognito mode. According to the complaint filed in the federal courts in San Jose, California, Google, through products like Google Analytics and Ad Manager and other applications and plugins, learn about the friends, hobbies, shopping habits, and some other preferences. I'm a bit too immature. A Google spokesperson said that they'll vigorously defend themselves against such claims. They also go on to say further that every time you open a new incognito tab, websites may be able to actually collect information about your browsing activity. The complaints mentioned that users may have been affected since the 1st of June 2016, which, if true, is absolutely crazy. Just to further compound their problems, only 2 weeks ago, a report by ZDNet stated that over 100 critical bugs were found in the web browser over the past year. 70% of them were memory management bugs and safety bugs, which ultimately left the door open for attackers to come and attack Chrome's inner components. It looks like if you're somebody who's actually concerned about your security, you may need to use a different browser. So, do you think that Google's just given millions of the users a reason to quit Chrome and use a different browser? Let us know in the polls above. finally, on a sadder note, it's time to address the elephant in the room. Protesters around the world have been demanding justice for George Floyd and the systematic oppression of black people, not only in the States, but around the globe. Some employees of tech firms, irrespective of their skin colour, acknowledge the humanity of black people. And even though they may not be able to relate with the struggles that we go through, they understand and know that what is happening in respect to black people is not only cruel, but immoral and inhumane. Now, I know many people have shared their views, feelings, and expressed their emotions on this topic, but I want to do something slightly different. I want to address the tech firms. After all, this is a tech show. Over the last week or so, tech firms have come out making statements and tweets showing their supposed solidarity with the Black Lives Matter movement. Amazon tweeted the inequitable and brutal treatment of black people in our country must stop. Together in solidarity with the black community, our employees, customers, partners in the fight against systemic racism and injustice. The CEO of Google, Sundar Pichai, said that today on US, Google and YouTube homepages, we share our support for racial equality and solidarity with the black community and in memory of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery, and others who don't have a voice. For those feeling grief, anger, sadness and fear, you're not alone. And finally, Mark Zuckerberg wrote on a post whilst announcing $10 million going to groups working on racial justice that the pain of the last week reminds us how far our country has to go to give every person freedom with dignity and peace. But here's the thing, as nice as these statements are, do they actually hold any weight? Do the statements coming from these firms match their actions behind closed doors? And I'm sorry to tell you that the short answer is no. In Amazon's case, they have several contracts with law enforcement. Their subsidiary Ring, a home surveillance company, has issues with racial profiling. A report by Motherboard found out that out of 100 posts on the app, the majority of people who users seemed to be suspicious were people of colour. These biases in software like recognition and app license to law enforcement agencies that have struggled to correctly identify non-white faces mean that black people are more likely to be questioned, stopped, and in cases that are unfortunately not rare and have been happening way too frequently, killed by law enforcement and members of the public just by doing their jobs and living in their own neighbourhood. In Google's case, employees' demands for more diversity led to a walkout back in November 2018, where more than 20,000 people participated. And in 2019, Leslie Miley, a black engineering director, said he was questioned by a white employee who blocked the entrance to their office even though his badge was visible. And finally, only as recently as May, an NBC report stated that Google had significantly rolled back its diversity and inclusion initiatives so that they don't seem anti-conservative. And Facebook. Good old Facebook. Facebook's response has also been a mixed bag. Staff have been vocal about their anger around Mark Zuckerberg's decisions to break with Twitter by leaving Trump's "when the looting starts, the shooting starts" statement intact. Facebook staff has also actively been discouraged by their managers from sharing feedback, participating in internal group meetings, and are regularly treated as suspicious by campus security, which is something that an employee named Mark Lucky shared. I mean, this is really, really eye-opening. Tech companies have one way or another contributed or are actively contributing to structural racism, or as some will call it, institutionalized racism within their companies and in society. Now, I can't speak for other people, but all I want from these companies is for them to convert their rhetoric into action. Empty tweets don't mean anything. Donating to organizations are great, but when you've got a market cap of about $1 trillion, that is what is expected of you. So here's what you can do. Hire diversity and inclusion leads. Educate employees about their biases and their privileges. Make the workspace a better and safer environment for black people. And oh yeah, finally, use your damn power for legislative and structural change. You've been able to do it in the past for your own initiatives, so how about you do it again? But this time, make society just that little bit fairer. When the dust settles and protests subside and we all look back at this period, what will the record show? Did big tech dance around the issue as salient and important as racial inequality and engage in performative posting? Or did they use their power, their size and their resources to advance a movement that fights against the systemic racism that black people face? Now, I could appreciate that that ended on a bit of a downer. However, we do aim to make this a weekly thing. So if you do like what you saw or what you heard, please engage with us in the comments. First of all, like, comment, subscribe, share, do all of that good stuff that will allow the YouTube algorithm to bump us up there. And if you have any thoughts or comments, engage with us, engage with me. Our social media handles will be somewhere around here. And we don't really have an outro. So for the time being,